da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da dum da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da dum da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da da diddy dum 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 da.
I'll spare you the history that you've likely heard ad nauseum by now. Concord appears dead on arrival as the hero shooter releases to less than 700 concurrent players. And that was on the 23rd. That story came out on the 23rd, thanks to Spencer Picculi over at boundingintocomics.com. That's right, we got a whole news website. Feel free to check for the link to this article below. But you might be wondering, how are the game devs handling this, opening to less than 700 people? Like, this was an anticipated competitor to Call of Duty, to Fortnite, to, I want to say, like, Destiny too, right? They were trying to get into that, like, PvP environment, player versus environment sort of situation. I'm not exactly sure because Concord was one of those things I looked at once and I was like, I don't care. And apparently, everybody else felt the same. So much so that the devs have come off as a little edgy. Concord developer writes off critics saying, why would I care about a bunch of talentless freaks hating on it? Wow, and with that, with that featured image there, Spencer knocks it out of the park with this. My goodness, why indeed would people have a problem with Concord? What? Why so touchy, right? It's only a game. You don't have to be mad. It's only a game. You remember that? I'm all about that internet deep lore, right? You go ahead and look up that clip. Eventually, I'll get around to putting these memes in here so I don't have to mimic them terribly. But for now, you know what I mean. You don't have to be mad. It's only a game. But they got real mad. Pirate Nation, not to be confused with Pirate Software. Thor's a cool guy, but this isn't his account right here. This is Pirate Nation, and he's recording what the devs are up to with a nice screenshot so nobody can hide it a little later. And so this is one of the Concord devs, and it says, I am so honored to have had this be my first AAA game. It was a huge learning experience, lots of struggles, but I'm glad to have gone through them. Time to go play, right? And then hidden reply by the author, this person. It says, pay me $8 to unhide your tweet. Pay me $8 to unhide your reply. Pay me $8 to unhide your reply. This, I guess the game's doing not so well, so you gotta make money somehow. I appreciate the side hustle, right? You wanna be communicative or evil, we'll go ahead and, charge you $8 for it, right? I'm kidding, okay? These people are clearly psychopaths. This is not how you react to people not buying your game. This is not how you react to people criticizing. I mean, for goodness sake, look at this character. This is a clown. This is a hilarious clown character. There's no way you could take this character seriously. Absolutely no way you could take him seriously. But if you say that to Free Gunner, by the way, if you say that to Free Gunner, well, this person's going to make you pay $8 to let your voice be heard. But they'll turn around and criticize Elon for charging that money, right? That's the joke here, probably, right? Pay me the money like you pay Elon, right? Such a joke. The left can't meme. Anyway, here we go. It gets even worse because, over at TheGamer, they wanted us to know that Concord has yet to crack 1,000 players on Steam. Yikes, was their caption. That was 4 hours ago. And that was published. Now, here's from Joe Parlock. Almost said Pollock. That's not appropriate. Joe Parlock, he says, published 7 hours ago. Let's give Concord a chance. And then, 3 hours from that, nobody did. Nobody. It may have worked against him, in fact, to have TheGamer, TheGamer here, come out and say this. Of course, Pirate Nation again says, let's give Concord a chance. No. I mean, I'm with them. Quite clearly, I'm with them. But it gets even worse, okay? So here we go. And this, you know, beyond like whatever the game is, this response is spectacular, right? If you enjoy the gaming community, the community coming out and saying like, hey, we don't like this. This is dumb. We're gonna tell you to your face that it's dumb and that you shouldn't have done this. And anybody could have told you that just looking at the surface of this. Wait until you see the character designs. If you haven't seen them yet, we'll get to it. We'll get to them. Just hold on. And man, the live player count from this morning is a massacre. We're going to get to that in a minute too, but let's take a look at what Michael has here to say. And he's bringing up that unironically becoming convinced the only people playing Concord on Steam are PlayStation devs. So here's Insomniac Games saying, we're playing at Play Concord with our friends on Bend Plays. To celebrate the launch of At Play Concord, the Bend devs are taking it to the galaxy and streaming live now. So as you can see, everybody who has a contract with Sony Interactive is coming out here and trying to lift for these guys. And you know what? You'd think like, oh, Insomniac Games, right? Well, they're kind of hot right now. They've done some good stuff recently, maybe. And then, oops. Nah, it didn't. It didn't. In fact, the all-time peak was $6.97. And right now, it is not that. It is not that. And it's just sad. And again, it's really beautiful, again, to see see gamers come out and acknowledge this. Well, then you've got people that are like, I would say, fake game. Oh, you hear that going by right now? That's the truckload of tears from the game devs, right? That's a whole truckload. They're just taking that out to a landfill because it's absolutely useless. This is all coming from PC Gamer, by the way. That truckload of tears is players seem to like Concord. For real, guys. Trust us. We have a news website. We can say these things. See, this is the problem with these shill sites, right? They come out and they lend what little credibility they have to these things like Concord, of all things. And then their credibility goes down further and further and further. And so here we are, PC Gamer saying, players seem to like Concord, but the $40 price tag has led to a tepid first weekend on PC. Really? Really? People were humming and hawing over Assassin's Creed Shadows, the collector's edition, being like $180. All right? They were like, I don't know, over that. Okay, $40 to go play what was supposed to compete with Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Valorant, what Overwatch, was supposed to compete with that. What happened? Why wasn't you can't get Overwatch for that price. So what's the problem? What's the problem? Well, let's find out. So Noir here, he says, why did Overwatch go viral at launch when Concord failed? That's right. Just take a look at the characters each game launched with, and what do you notice? Now, of course, you see up here, you've got Diva and Mercy and I'm sorry, I forgot her name. I apologize. It's something to do with a shape. I don't want to call her Geometrica, because I know that's wrong. But this one, Genji's got his name right there, just so you don't forget. You got to appreciate that, right? Genji's got his name right there. There's Reaper. There's the guy that got into the sex scandal. And then there's the Concord characters. Isn't that neat? Look at that. That person, creature. This, goodwill shopper. That's right. There we go. Where'd you get your fit? The dumpster behind Goodwill. Then there's, I don't know, I don't know, you might not have this. Like, antiques are big up here in Maine, so you see a lot of them displayed with pride. This looks like one of those early 1900s ovens that was a wood stove at the same time. So it was a wood fire oven in your home. So it was all like very, colorful. They wanted to make it colorful to go with the icebox refrigerator with the big old handle that doubled as an ice pick you could climb the side of a mountain with. You remember that, right? I didn't grow up in it. I just live around it, and I see this stuff, and that just looks like somebody pounded an old oven, a ye olde wood fire oven, into a suit of armor, and they put a little golf flag on the back of it, like boop. That's me. I'm the oven. You know, it's even funnier that there's a lady inside of that too. And then you have a rejected League of Legends character. That's neat, right? Yeah, they even League of Legends was like, you know, we'll put anything in this, but not that. Not that. And then I don't know, I think this is like Budget May, once again, another Goodwill pickup. Somebody who just walked through the aisles of Goodwill searching for those clearance tags and decided this is something I'll die in. Mm-hmm. And went about as such. And then, for whatever reason, there's budget Buzz Lightyear here with, I assume, a hollowed out CRTV up there on top. And then there's that mushroom that grows on your lawn that you particularly make sure that the lawnmower drives over like perfectly straight, so that way all the spores get spread out and there's more mushrooms. Yeah, that's what that is. And of course, it's got like unicorns attached to its shoulder. Now, I'm careful with gendering these creatures because I'm not sure. Because again, we're dealing with a dev group that adores Sweet Baby Inc.'s thinking. So you don't know. I believe that's a woman wearing the oven. It would be a little weird if there was a man wearing the oven. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's a joke. I mean, you can cancel me if you like, but this guy here, he's got the whole spectrum behind him. Again, I could be wrong. Might not be a man. So anyway, we've got more of it, right? So here's a couple more. Here's a character that looks like your dentist if he appreciated Helsing. That's right. If Alucard was your dentist. That's neat. That's a neat character to have. Of course, we saw the oven lady. That's neat. Just took one of those old wood fire ovens and pounded it into a piece of metal. You know, what else are you going to do? Make bread in there, right? What do you do? Bake bread? Pfft, can't fight a war with bread. But then there's, I don't know, like meth-addled rave elf? Is that what this is? This is meth-addled rave elf? That's what that looks like. You've seen rave girls that are just methed out and they're like, their leggings are there and their clothes are all tattered and they haven't like bathed in, I don't know, years. Like they haven't, the last time I took a bath was before they went to Burning Man last year, you know? That's what this looks like. This looks like I hate my father and we don't talk anymore. And then there's Buzz Lightyear again with the hollowed out CRTV helmet. That's neat. Like, I found this. It kind of looks like one of those Macintosh computers that had the colored plastic on it, right? And you just took out all the gizmos that made it important and then turned it into a dopey helmet that doesn't protect you because it's plastic. And then there's Fat May again. That's neat. That's helpful. You know, it's just all these unique characters that you might meet in downtown Los Angeles. Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe this is what they did. They went around to the homeless encampment, right? What do you think? Do you think they went around to the homeless encampment and they were like, oh, you are a video game character? Yes, you are. Click. You know, do you think that's what they did? They were just like, whoa, this guy thinks he's Spider-Man. You know, whoa, there's a vampire dentist. Whoa, you know, do you think that's what they did? Is they just went around taking pictures of all the diversity that's happening in Los Angeles. I struggle for a word, you know, I struggle for a word to describe the pure joy, the absolute joy of Los Angeles right now. But then we have Learning the Law over here, and he says, I think Western gaming journalism's bias has reached its limits. And take a look at this. This is quite a comparison. I'm Chinese, and Black Myth Wukong doesn't excite me as much as it should. Wow. And they just cast the Chinese CCP flag over the top of this game. Like, by the way, guys, the communists made it. The commies. Xi Jinping personally did motion capture for this. That's right. Kim Jong-un, he did voice work. That's right. It's communist. Can't just be some people trying to make their first, like, AAA level game ever in a different nation. Like, you gotta be clear. You'll hear me speak a lot of smack about the CCP. I don't like the CCP whatsoever, okay? That's going into YouTube's algorithm, by the way, so don't expect to see this video again. But I don't like the CCP, all right? I don't have a problem with the Chinese people. A lot of people confuse that when you criticize the government that is destroying the people below it that are under its power, that it's the people who are the source of this, when it is not the case. The Chinese people are not to blame for what Xi Jinping and his people are doing up at the top. They're just trying to get through their day like you and I. And that's what happened with the Black Myth Wukong guys, because it wasn't enough to label them sexist. Now we have to make sure that you know that they come from China. Ooh, China. You know, I get it, right? If your food comes from there, maybe be a little, you know. If your technology comes from there, like your phone, maybe check it and make sure it's not sending location data back to the home office the way TikTok does, you know. But Black Myth Wukong is a video game, and I struggle with how the Chinese government can use this to spy and do harm. In fact, it's by a game company, as I mentioned earlier, that this is their first AAA game. And these are just Chinese people. This is not the government that was like, you, go make a Monkey Man game. Make a cool Monkey Man game. Or else. Xi Jinping didn't call up and he was like, we need the Monkey Man game now. There wasn't any of that. There wasn't any of that. These guys got together and they were like, this is a really cool myth. This is what Dragon Ball was based off of. Obviously, it's got legs still. The idea of a Monkey Man warrior fighting mythical adversaries while meeting some friends along the way, you know? Apparently it works, right? What a formula. What a formula. But then you go over on the other side and they're like, oh, by the way, let's give Concord a chance. They're not communists. Just think about that, right? Just think about that. If you asked most of the people on the Concord dev team how they felt about spreading the wealth around, just ask them. They'd probably give you, you know, a few excerpts from Marx's manifesto. And then if you ask these guys, you know, what they think about it, they'll probably just ask you if you played the game or not and what they can do to help you, you know, help you enjoy it, what they can add on to it, right? We're dealing with two different cultures here. These people live under that tyranny. They don't want to discuss it. They don't want to acknowledge it because harm comes to them when they do. Over here, we have people who, you know, think that Starbucks is a third space that they need to be hanging around in all day, every day. And they need to have their laptops open so people know that they're working, you know? These people over here live under an oppressive government that will eliminate them if they screw up. These people over here live under a government that elevates them because they screw up. Very different. Very different. Let's give Concord a chance. Let's give Concord... No, we're not. But it gets even worse, guys. The stakes are on the grill. It is at stake, okay? The stakes are on the grill. They might be burning. They're definitely well done at this point. So here we go. The Concord forum on Steam is pretty funny. And so this user with a series of numbers for a name says, people's jobs are at stake. You know, like that food that you put on the grill, steaks, you know? Nope. They clearly mean something else, but maybe they were hungry when they wrote this, right? Maybe this is a little bit of hangry coming through, huh? So we've got, I get having a little trolling fun. I used to browse random on 4chan back in 2019. Wow, you brave soul, back in 2019. Good for you. Wow, good for you. But you guys really need to lock in. There are hundreds, if not thousands of people whose lives depend on this game succeeding. Just food for thought before you gloat. Really? Really? There's so many jobs at stake. So many jobs at stake. Well, this could demonstrate how weak the gaming industry is at the moment because of things like Concord. Why should the player, thus the customer, engage in this to save these people's jobs based on a subpar product? Why should they go out and save this game, this gaming development group? Let's say the jobs are really the focus here. Why should they go out and do that? What is the merit in there? What has been proven in this? That, oh, well, guys, you tried, so we're going to all pretend to like what you have created so you don't feel bad. That's called patronizing. That's very bad. That's very bad. That's the opposite of, that's like a gaslighting in the opposite direction. Love bombing, maybe? Is that what it's called? I'm not sure. That's when you're fakely throwing affection and compassion at people you would otherwise not give the time of day to. Okay? And so that's not a solution. Telling people that you got to go play it, so that way, you know, your numbers don't go down and these people don't lose their jobs, right? No, no, no. You've made the absolute wrong move here, because now you've incentivized more people to be like, you mean the people that created this stuff that then called me a talentless nothing for not liking it will lose their jobs if I simply don't play their game? I don't even have to talk to them? Wow! And what are they going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do when a developer comes out and says this about criticism? Says, why would I care about a bunch of talentless freaks hating on the game? Why would we want to help you? Why would we want to help these people keep their jobs? Especially if we don't have to do anything other than not do something. That's the neat part of this, is that by even not knowing about Concord, you are assisting in these people learning a lesson about what they're meant to do with making video games. It's about making the video game, not dunking on the chuds. Weird concept, I know. If you want to get into dunking on the chuds, there's plenty of provocateur groups out there that are happy to hire you to go online to screw with people for whatever reason that this company has been hired to do that. They exist. They're out there, provocateur companies, agencies that specifically deal with creating havoc on the internet. They absolutely are out there, and they are perfectly legal. Go be part of that. Don't be a video game maker if your goal is to make other people angry. Don't do that. It's very simple. But, you know, it gets even worse. We can go out here and we can take a look at just how desperate it's gotten for these guys, right? We now have several gaming companies under the Sony label. So I told you earlier, we got Naughty Dog, we got Insomniac Games we mentioned earlier, Ben Studio right now. We got Naughty Dog calling all free gunners. You know, and then down here we got Sucker Punch Productions putting out some art of their characters together. And it's massive congratulations to our friends at Firewalk Studios on the global launch of Play Concord today. This weekend is going to be a blast. But no, it's not. It didn't turn out to be a blast at all. Because as of right now, there's only 168 live players going on. And the all-time peak, in fact, wasn't 668. It was just 660. Now, I have no idea why that number went down, but there you go. And then in the last 24-hour peak was only 395 players online with Concord. So there you go. It's not doing too well. In the last 30 days, the average players have been 333.7. So there's like most of the guy is playing the game. He might be chewing on something, you know, got a big bag of Doritos playing with his toes, you know. He's not entirely invested, but he's there, right? So that's the 0.7. You know, maybe he's ghosting, right? Just soaking up the experience points while his teammates just blow up everything, right? Because obviously Concord is just a blast, right? You can just play it with your toes. Play it with your toes. But finally, I do want to bring this up here, this wonderful gem. They went out of their way, PlayStation went out of their way to make a Concord customized controller. That's right. So for your PlayStation 5, PC, Mac, and mobile experience with Concord, you can have this customized controller from the factory. Yep. Sony thought it was going to be as big as Overwatch, that they created these limited edition controllers. Wow. How about that? And if you like the color scheme, though, and you can, like, cover up the Concord thing, right? You know, or just live with it. If you like the color scheme, you'd probably get one heck of a discount in this about 2 weeks. So, hey, keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. But let's close this out with some Hypnotic news. That's right, Hypnotic news. Hypnotic has started his own news alert out here on X. So feel free to subscribe or follow Hypnotic over here. He's at Real Hypnotic. Check him out. And he has this to say. He's reporting the truth about the situation on a shill. That's right, an industry still. And he says, mainstream industry shill says gamers should play Concord no matter what and support it Otherwise, they will continue to get safe sequels and remakes. Ignores the actions of the Concord team against gamers, and also refuses to acknowledge that the game was specifically made for modern audiences. That doesn't exist. That's right, they're not out there. Modern audience, they didn't drop from space. The audiences are always here, right? The culture didn't just drop from space, right? As apparent by the lack of players in the game. Once again, I'll attract your attention. 168 players this morning. That's it. And so over here, we're going to scroll down. Just, he's got this great scheme going on up here. He's got Hypnotic News up here, nice cool logo, right? And he's borrowed their white, red, white scheme that they put out there. He's just followed their whole thing, just cloned what they do with these stupid little spooky, be scared kind of thumbnails for their dumb little news posts. And it says, we need to play Concord no matter what, unless you want more remakes and safe sequels. And this was the same thing that nade shot guy said. You remember, it's a bit of an echo chamber going on right now. Oh, there goes another truckload of Concord tiers. How about that? But for every tier, if there is a player, right? But anyway, this is the same thing that nade shot was talking about. That nade shot was saying that if you don't support these new games, whether you like them or not, you're going to end up getting all these remakes and safe sequels. And that's just not the case. If the market isn't allowed to decide what's good for it, then it's just going to end up bloated with junk. And that's really what we need to take away from this, is that beyond Concord being a clown show, beyond the devs being like peak baby energy, right? Like absolutely unable to deal with the fact that nobody enjoyed this. And apparently nobody inside this studio was like, why is there a vampire dentist? Nobody called that out. Why is that person wearing a early 1900s wood stove? Cooking stove. Why is that person wearing a stove? Nobody asked this. Nobody asked it. They just did. Why does that elf look like a rave meth addict? Rave meth. That's coming soon, you bet. And that's where we're at, is that these gaming journalists aren't interested in covering it. They're going it hard in the paint to cover and shill for these games from the industry in order to maintain their access. So just like Hypnotic News is delivering here, these guys are ignoring all the actions developers made against gamers, and then they ignored what was popular in the market they were hoping to serve. They delivered us these crazy character designs. I'll go back and show you, look at these. This is absolutely nuts. I don't know who sat there and said, people are going to want to spend hours and hours and hours staring at the backside of these things. I have no idea, man. I have no idea. But as always, until the next video, good luck out there.